was struggling to find where I wanted to go with everything. So it was like, you see the money come and go, and you're like, what the heck? Where's all my money? Like, you work so hard. You're working 7 days a week. You're feeling the burnout of like the print shop life and a small crew, and like you're trying to figure out what's working, why you're doing what you're doing, and like how do you get to that next level? Like, we all have big goals and dreams, and it didn't seem like I was really getting there fast enough or like profitable by any means. So
Hey everyone, welcome to Profit Land podcast number 1. Couldn't have done it without my friend Blake. Thanks for having me over at the shop and at the podcast studio. This is a treat. So appreciate it.
We're making do with our American Dream podcast setup. This will be the first one here, and we're just going to kind of keep it light, talk about things in the shop, other things that are happening within the industry, and kind of go from there. Add some insight and some knowledge that we've done, because we walk the walk and talk the talk. So just here to kind of share our story and go from there.
You know, this is a podcast about profit and getting to our own profit land. We work hard in our businesses. We take risks. Yep. We have dreams, but without profit, that doesn't come to fruition.
Yep.
And I'd love for you to share your journey about, like, let's get right into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Contribution margin. It's
Yep.
not like, what is that? It sounds weird. I want to hear about your journey, wrapping your head around that. And we both know the power that's come from you grasping that concept and how you
Yep.
use it day out in the business. So talk us through that journey. How did you get there, and what's it been like?
Sure. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of confusion before kind of understanding like the true contribution margin, and there's so many different systems and things out there that you could follow, and like finding one that works for you and sticking with it is super important, and coming across like the idea of contribution margin and being able to get down and know the numbers before your P&L comes out has been one of the biggest things for me.
How did you operate without it? Like, let's rewind before we had the chance to cross paths. When Blake looked at Insignia and thought about profitability, like, what were you going off of, or what was that North Star, if any? Because most shops
much,
we don't
honestly.
have.
Yeah, like I was struggling to find where I wanted to go with everything. So it was like, you see the money come and go, and you're like, what the heck? Where's all my money? Like, you work so hard. You're working 7 days a week. You're feeling the burnout of like the print shop life and a small crew, and like you're trying to figure out what's working, why you're doing what you're doing, and like how do you get to that next level. Like, we all have big goals and dreams, and it didn't seem like I was really getting there fast enough or like profitable by any means. So I didn't really know what numbers to look at, because there's so many different numbers coming in.
It's overwhelming.
It is. So it's like you can't necessarily just look at one thing and have it figured out. So being able to have the contribution margin to look at, and knowing that each job is profitable at a certain level, and you can kind of base everything off of that, has been, really beneficial for us. And knowing that not just the P&L says one thing because we have accounts receivable, but we can truly base it off of a day by day, week by week, month by month, and know that all the jobs that are coming in, getting completed, are within the numbers that we want to hit. So whether the bank account has that money in there or not, if our accounts receivable are high or whatever that is, you know that you're doing a good job before the job's done. So like, that was some of our issues, is we were completing these jobs not at a good contribution margin, and then having to twiddle our thumbs and be like, why the heck don't we have any money? And we didn't realize that, well, we didn't have enough contribution margin in there. So being able to have that little dial to turn and know, like, okay, we got to go up a little bit here, we can go down a little bit here, because we can be a little bit more competitive. And it's opened up the can of worms on the pricing structure. I know we've went back and forth on that a lot. So I'm excited to be able to use print profit hand in hand with kind of building out like a more detailed pricing structure, because there's so many variables that go into it. It's not like
Can of worms is well said.
Yeah. It's I don't know. There's so many shops that have kind of their industry standard. Like in the mechanic world, it's like it costs this much per hour to fix a tire, fix a radiator, whatever it is. It's like when you deal with the print shop side of things, there's so much creative side and
custom manufacturing, for better or for worse. Often it's like, oh man,
most
Some
people,
days it's like, couldn't we just do the same SKU all day long and go to
yeah,
sleep? But
yep, yep. So that's kind of where I've wanted to lead some of the pricing side of things, is to make it more of like a one size fits all, and kind of eliminate some of those variables, because you can spin yourself out of control when you're trying to adjust for the complexity, the amount of colors, the locations, and the garments, and this and that, and like you end up
yeah,
digging yourself a wormhole, and you spend, even with some of the pricing tools out there, it's like you spin yourself out of control. And
really fast.
yeah, so really focusing on a contribution margin, cost of goods, and then like what percentage you want to be at.
And let's actually rewind. So, if you're not familiar with that concept, let's just break down Business 101. There's a few things in life we can't change: gravity, taxes, death, right?
Yep,
And also profitability. If you want to have any profitability, you've got fixed costs and you need to cover that in order to make a profit, right?
yep,
Business 101. So, for every job you sell, you say sold it for 100, you subtract out the true job costs. What's left over, what Blake and I are talking about, those dollars, it's called contribution. Why?
yep,
It's contributing to help cover your fixed costs. So I love like the visuals and the analogies, almost like a thermometer, right?
yeah, yep,
If your fixed cost is 10 grand a month, every job, what is left over helps us chip away and go up top. So when Blake's shop is right out the door here, when I'm looking at all the piles of jobs and on the racks, I see contribution dollars and I know Blake's overhead. And it's a very simple game. And I find that freeing
yep,
versus the way our industry's tried to do it. And I put in some buckets. One is don't know, running blind. That's actually the norm. And then you have the one where we've over engineered it with crazy spreadsheets.
yep,
And then we lose our sense of reality. And we mean well. We're
yep,
trying to do good. And that's been the norm.
yep,
But this is where, man, I wake up, get out of bed, and every morning I can't help be excited about this contribution.
yeah,
Because it's simple
yep.
and it's truthful.
Those two things are some of the most important things, because we've interviewed for our American Dream podcast probably 30 guests now, and every single one of those people that is successful, one of their main traits is keeping it stupid simple. It may
Gotta
sound
be.
stupid simple, but it's literally the framework for being successful. The second you overcomplicate things, it becomes messy. You can't duplicate it. You can't scale it.
Yep.
You can't do any of those things. So like getting down to the nitty gritty and keeping it as simple as possible with
Bare bones.
cost of goods, contribution margin, and that's really your numbers, and those are your two dials of the more you spend on cost of goods, the more your contribution margin will go up, and all the things.
So when you, I'm sure before we had a chance to cross and think this way, we always obsess about the sales, right? Who won it? The bigger sales
Yep.
value, the better.
Yep.
But now, does your brain just go straight to contribution? And don't get me wrong, sales is
Yep.
important, but I have so many owners who say, I don't give a, you know what, about sales. I'm in it for the contribution. And I get so amped up because at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Oh yeah.
You
Yep.
could take a big job,
Yep.
you could outsource it,
Yep.
pay a sales commission. What's left for Blake? Zilch. But the
Yep.
sales number was sexy.
Yeah. What'd that get you? Nothing.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. The sales number definitely in the beginning. That was like the goal was to hit $1 million a year. Like that's everybody's goal, I feel like. And now that we're approaching that this year, it's like the numbers that really matter are the contribution, really putting some money back in the business to be able to get to that next level. Because you're never going to get to $2, 3, 4, or $5 million if you're doing $1 million and you're broke at the end of the year. You're never going to be able to invest in your people. You're never going to be able to invest in your systems, processes, equipment.
Maybe even pay ourselves. How about that?
That's a slippery slope right there. What's that? No, yeah, for sure. That's definitely a huge part of it. You kind of lose sight of that sometimes when you're, in the trenches grinding away, and forgetting to pay yourselves definitely can be a common trait, I think, in this industry, especially for those smaller shops that are 2, 3, 4 people, and they're in there all
That's the
night,
bulk
and yeah, that's the majority, I think.
shops.
So yeah, so there's definitely some cool shops out there that kind of lead by example, and they're some good motivators, and kind of finding your sweet spot, I think, is, everybody dreams big, but when you try to reverse engineer that, like, what does that actually mean? Is it
Bigger isn't always better.
more problems, more headaches? Like, what's the actual sweet spot? Is it $2 million? Because then you have enough people in place where you can, you can step out and you can focus on the business, you can focus on yourself and your family and all the things.
Yep.
Because you're probably not going to get that at like $500,000 because you're the one doing most of the work.
Correct. It's such a fine line at
Yep.
those revenue levels.
Yep. There's 4 different pillars in business. It's leads, fulfillment, financials like capital, and then your employees. So like every time you go up on one, the other one goes down, and you need to bring it up or whatever. So like the more leads you have, the more workers you're going to need, the more capital you're going to need, the more systems and processes, all the things. So like
Whack-a-mole.
it's finding that balance and not living without like outside of your means, I guess. The same thing you do with personal, you have to do it with your business as well.
Yeah. Business is not easy.
No, it's a 24/7 game.
Talking about milestones, you've been crushing your goals, and talking about that 7 figure. So for the people who may not know Blake or Insignia, you want to kind of give us the background story, which is a loaded question, but you're looking at crossing over that 7 figure level, and that didn't just happen overnight.
No.
You kind of want to unravel the journey a bit for folks who may not be familiar with the shop or yourself.
Sure. So, kind of a background. My main business from a childhood was the campground here, Bluff Valley Campground. Born and raised into that business, so kind of had that entrepreneurial side of things since I was born, running around selling things to campers and this and that, kind of working honestly full time at age like 12 at the campground. So been with that business for 20 years now with our family. And the print shop honestly started because we were kind of unhappy with some of our locals that were printing and kind of wanted to print our own stuff. And we knew we could at least sell enough for the campground to get us started. So, we hopped on YouTube, YouTube certified, learned how to screen print, ordered our kit off Ryonet or whatever, and we were off to the races, and we didn't really know what we were doing. We made a lot of mistakes along the way, just in the basement of my brother's house. And just
How long ago, ballpark, are
we started 10 years ago. So it was definitely a slow start because we didn't turn the lights on unless we had something to print. So like it was a complete side hustle at the time, which I think a lot of people start that way. That's what makes this industry so interesting is it's a pretty low barrier to entry. And
especially with DTF.
I was just going to say a whole nother wormhole that I don't want to get into is the DTF side of things. But so it's a pretty low barrier to entry, and you can do it on the side, and you can get things rolling. So we did the same, just like many others did. And being the fact that our campground is majority small business owners as well, we kind of pride ourselves on printing quality stuff in the beginning. Not just the print side of things, but like actually going out and sourcing the good products, not just printing on the Gildens. There's certain people that want that, but, making sure we were printing on good quality stuff, and that just, stood the test of time with our clients. And like, we didn't really even sell them on it, but like, they just started asking questions like, oh, well, who makes your stuff? And, it started the conversation. And then the main question that really doubled our business was, the campground closes in the fall. What do you do in the winter? Like, oh, we also own a screen printing and embroidery business. Oh, you do? Oh, that's awesome. I own this and this and this. And before we know it, we were doing a bunch of stuff for all of our clients. So kind of a vertical integration, kind of a off the wall one, but it worked for us.
Clever. And I know that wasn't the original vision, but man, does that work well.
Yeah. So fast forward 10 years, we really didn't start doubling down until COVID. And we didn't even know it was COVID at the time, but we had leased a property in Rochester, and we were going to try and do that brick and mortar storefront deal. And I wish I knew about contribution margin then, because that probably would have saved us on some decisions being made, because we went in there, our overhead was too high, our contribution wasn't where it needed to be. We wanted to get in front of people, being out in the middle of nowhere. We thought that's what we needed to do. We wasted a bunch of money being there. COVID happened. We kind of had to close our doors there, brought everything back home. And that was right about the same time we got, launched with Printavo, hired our first employee. So like we really were doubling down on all those things. And like we were kind of overhiring and overspending to, kind of jumpstart some of the growth, because I knew I couldn't do all that stuff myself from an early standpoint. And because you can't be creating the mock-ups and doing the artwork and blowing the screens out and mulching and printing and sorting and folding and
That's
contacting
Superman.
customers. So I knew early on that we had to grow and expand, but we were doing it bootstrapped as well alongside running a 7-figure campground and a bunch of other things going on. We did a light show for 20 years. We do the music fest, and so yeah, there's definitely a lot of moving parts, and yeah, I don't know. It's been a journey. So now we got 3.5 or 4,000 square feet here in a building that we have for the campground. We got an auto 4-head embroidery machine. We kind of spiral out of control and are doing a bunch of services. Now we've kind of dialed it back, kind of thanks to contribution margin as well. Just knowing,
Fine tuning, right?
yeah,
Finding that sweet spot, and that's a journey.
yeah, because I don't want to be doing everything. Like I thought early on, I had to do everything to make it make sense, but you come to find out that doesn't make you money. You spread yourself thin. You become like okay at all these services. So like our main bread and butter is screen printing, embroidery, and specifically like headwear. We do a lot of patches, embroidery patches, woven patches, and kind of cater to really two specific industries and try not to get too clouded with so many different wormholes and other things. So yeah, we got 5 or 6 employees in the shop here, depending on the week, and then we got some remote people as well, which has been kind of one of the biggest things that have been able to catapult our business.
Particularly on the admin side.
Admin side was huge. I mean, I can't stress that enough. If you're getting close to making that million, or even we did it at like 500,000. If you're in that ballpark, and even if you have to suffer a little bit, it's going to be worth it in the long run. Getting out of some of those day to day, and I still struggle with delegating some of those things because it's a control issue, and when you put your life into something and your blood, sweat, and tears, and you're like, I don't want to give that up because that's the heartbeat of the business. It's tough. It's like I know these people personally, like the customers, and like letting other people handle that stuff has been probably one of the hardest things for me to overcome. But I know I'm never going to get there without overcoming that, because I get 50 to 60 text messages a day, and hundreds of emails every single day, and there's just no possible way for any one of us. And I know this resonates with a lot of people out there, and the customer thinks it's like they're the only ones talking to you a lot of times, and like you need to give them that experience without taking away from that experience at the same time. Yeah. So like without taking away from that their one and only experience, you have to improve your processes and bring admin people in and be able to handle that side of things. I think the customer service side of things has been falling off the last couple of years with AI and all the online things and whatnot. So like I think if you can truly add value on a customer service side of things, that's where you're going to stand out and shine. They want to talk to people.
Correct.
So
and the more you know them on intimate level and their business and who they're serving and the problems that that's where you more than just a t-shirt or a hat. It's solution to their
exactly. So kind of went on a rant there, but yeah. So campground, print shop, do some marketing, some media things.
Blake will never say it. Coolest print shop in America. I'm the one. Maybe you saw it on our Instagram. We filmed the whole shop tour, messed up the audio.
Shoot.
We'll get there again.
Yep.
But it's truly like I've worked in this industry all around the world. I've been to over 40 countries. Middle East, Southeast Asia, India, South America, like all over. But what you have in sleepy Minnesota outside the Twin Cities, it's cool.
I appreciate that.
It's really cool.
It's our little chunk of heaven down here.
It is. I'm a sucker. I always visit Blake. I'm about an hour and a half drive, but he just has to message me once. All right, I'm driving down this week. Or next week. It's peaceful.
Yeah.
And that road time for me is therapeutic, just to
yeah.
think and reflect. Get out of the city a bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been on a couple long drives recently. How have you? What's been the main thing clicking through your head? Having some time to yourself and putting on the miles. How's that went?
Yeah, it's been about a lot self-care. Like I've gone so hard in the business, and that comes with sacrifice. Like filling your effort into one thing means you're not doing others.
Yep.
So I'm trying at the end of this year to really reel back a more healthier Nick. Don't get me wrong, we still got to work like dogs.
Yep.
But, I got a family,
Yep.
wife, daughter.
Yep.
I got my own health and want to be fit and active. So that's been something this year. Have failed a lot, but trying to get smarter. Is it similar with you? Just like ups and downs. I'll have a hot streak of a week
Oh
or
yeah.
two, and then it's like, oh, it fell off the bandwagon.
Yep.
But it's
No, for
just,
sure.
I'm in love with trying to be the best version of Nick and 1% better. I
Every
don't
single
care
day.
for perfection.
Yep.
That to me is exhausting. But just
Yep.
like, how do you try to optimize? Just be showing up a little better each day.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been a big goal of mine as well this year and leading into next year's like leading up to this point. It's been head down grinding, and it's not that we're not grinding still, but it was so many hats, and we still oversee things as the business owner and whatnot, but being able to delegate some of the things and not have to be out there printing the shirt every single second and making sure everything's being done properly. And we built out a lot of processes and systems leading up to this point. But yeah, now it's to kind of get back on the bandwagon and take care of your health and things that kind of get pushed to the side because you're like, I just need to get through, and like
Yeah.
trying to get to that North Star, and sometimes it seems like it's never getting there. So like focusing on making sure you're spending time with your family, you're eating right, you're sleeping right. Exercise is definitely a huge one. You can get that burnout, and then it just all spirals out of control. You know your contribution margin isn't there, and then you get overworked, and you feel the burnout, and then you're not getting your exercise and all these things, and then it just like honestly it spirals into kind of depression, and you don't even realize it's happening until you're too far gone, and then you got to try and
It's like
get
a
out of
hamster
that.
wheel.
So
The highs are highs, the lows are lows. I think, if anything, what I've learned in this journey, starting a software company, it's my first ever business.
yep,
I've kind of become numb, not in a bad way, but very even keel. There's not much that can shake me, the highs or
yep,
the lows,
yep,
and it's just even keel grind. Where at the beginning of the
yep,
journey is much more emotional.
yeah.
Oh, I got it. They said they're going to sign and they didn't, and then boom.
End of the world.
Or the
Yeah,
first person to say, no, I'm not going to sign with you. Oh, it took it so
yeah.
personal. And now it's just like, nope,
Fuel of the fire.
yeah, next day, next day.
Yep.
I don't know. Have you experienced that journey in a sense? Like, you're much more into the game than I am from a business owner perspective, but I like that just even keel. Don't get too high, don't get too
Yep.
low, rinse and repeat.
No, for sure. You know, probably earlier on, I was probably in a similar state where it's like, ah, dang, that really stings, and you really overthink certain things. But I think at the end of the day, it's about taking it day by day, and it's 1% better. And if you're giving it your all, and if that's not enough for some people, then that's so be it. You got to move on and not let that beat you up, because you can only control what's in front of you. And if you try to control everything, and
No way.
and it's understanding what's a good fit and what's not a good fit. If there's certain situations where you probably dodged a bullet, honestly, if they said no and they didn't have the same vision, like understanding that isn't for everybody, and all those things is definitely important.
Yeah.
Yeah, just try to honestly live off of failure, because I think you don't want to be making the same mistake twice, but like you make that mistake once and you learn from it. You make yourself better. You know what not to do next time. I think that's a part of the growth of every single business. If you're not failing, or you're not trying hard enough, you're just too comfortable. And I think
Correct.
pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is how you're going to get to that next level
And
in
that kind of
anything. Yeah.
speaks to this vision of Profit Land and this community looking to build. It's like we're all different shape and sizes, our print
Yeah.
shops, all different ambitions,
Yep.
but it's a unique group of, I don't dare say misfits, but like rebel owners who are saying, this old way of thinking hasn't served me well, or I've just never known, but I want to be the best version. I want to be a better owner.
Yep.
So I feel like there's a hidden gem in this Profit Land community of
There is.
how can the thought leadership supporting each other.
It's
And
all
hope,
about surrounding yourself with like-minded people, and that's one of the hard parts of business is like you start to differentiate yourself from certain people. Like, not there's a lot of people that aren't business owners, and they don't fully understand what you're doing and how you're getting there. So some things are lost through the process, but being able to, put your head down and be around the people that you want to be around. I think you can tell where someone's going by looking at who they're hanging out with. If they're hanging out with the wrong crowd, I mean, you can see it like just in high school, for example, there's all the different cliques. You can tell, I mean, you don't want to read or judge a book by a cover, but I mean, to a sense, there's a little something to that when you look at certain people and, just look closely at who's around you and don't try to be the smartest person in the room, because you're just going to hold yourself back, because you're never going to learn anything if you think you're the best out there and you're the smartest in the room. So,
And I found like my life has become very boring in the sense of print profit and family and little to nothing after that.
yeah.
So it's like, man, the little you do have, if you're running your own shop or whatever business, like that's a critical, that small group you surround yourself with.
Oh, yeah. That can determine the future of your business and your personal life. And,
Yeah.
if they don't have the same views as you, they could potentially pull you down and whatnot. So they'll hold you back. Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of like Profit Land community, kind of ties into content. We're doing a podcast here.
Yep.
You've been cooking up a lot this year. I can always trust Blake to text me with the latest and greatest ideas. What's on your mind right now in terms of in the science lab with content and marketing? Because you've really doubled down and placed some handsome bets on certain routes. So,
yep.
And I've even heard, and we've talked briefly, but yeah, give me the lowdown. Like, where is your conviction when it comes to content and marketing, and where you place that importance? Because you're in the middle of it right now.
Yeah, we're in the thick of it right now.
And I'm taking notes in the background. Blake is far ahead of me, but it's like learning from him and what works, what doesn't work. So, loaded topic, but like, where's your mind at right now?
It is a loaded topic, and I could probably talk for a really long time on this one, but kind of an overview on it. If you're just getting started in kind of the marketing world, I would start with kind of the organic side of things, and you're not going to see the quick result on that stuff, but it builds that trust and the credibility within your network of business owners and the local community, and do whatever you can do consistently. So like, don't just go out and post every single day and then for like 1 week and then stop posting. Like, if all you can do is post once a week, every single week, one time, do that.
Better than nothing.
That's better than nothing. But I guarantee you, if you post one time every single week for the next 365 days, or like the next year, I mean, you're going to way more benefit than just going absolutely crazy hard for that first week and then falling off.
Not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
For the average person who's also running numerous businesses and so on and so on.
Yeah. So there's a lot of back end to that. We've built some systems to be able to manage, because I manage quite a few social media accounts for other people and help with content and all the things. But just on a personal side of things, is just making sure you can do it consistently. Because if you can't do it consistently, then you're just going to hurt yourself, the whole process of what you're doing, and it's just going to be all for nothing.
Be demotivated as well.
Yep. Yeah. So people buy from people they like, know, and trust, and being able to do that consistently is going to be what's going to outweigh the other people that aren't doing it consistently.
So how have you, with Insignia and some other business you're involved in, what has been the baby steps to putting yourself out there and being authentic and connecting in that way? Has it just been a lot of experiments and rinse and repeat, or?
I think when you start making content to actually generate business, you have to think about it differently, because you can't go out there and just create content that you want to create, because me filming certain things that I'm doing caters to people like me in the print shop world. But like, my ideal customer doesn't really care about like how a screen is blown out and certain things. It's like,
isn't that humbling? We nerd out on this rock press and this.
Yeah,
they don't give two flips.
They don't even know what that is. They in their eyes, you press print and the shirt pops out on the other end, and that's how a shirt is made.
Yeah.
So like, being thoughtful and like creating content around that, and like, you have to point out their pain points, create a solution. You want to do a hook in the beginning, and then you want to do a call to action at the end. So like, that's kind of the basic framework. But I mean, you can go on Google and you can type in just like screen printing, and it'll pop up on Google. It'll literally give you the frequently asked questions right below that, and you can keep clicking down and down, and it'll literally tell you your script basically. Yeah. And then you can pull that, put it in a ChatGPT, You can tell it, hey, I'm a screen printing shop doing this, this, and this. Here's some frequently asked questions. Can you build me content with a hook, a pain point, a solution, and a call to action? It'll start generating all that information, and then just going out there and doing it. And you can start with just holding out your phone. You don't have to get crazy with it and have a full production
Right.
like we have at times, but just pulling out your phone and just kind of being authentic and showing the day to day alongside and being personable, because like putting your face on camera, that's how you're going to build that trust and likability within your community, because that's how people will buy from you. They like, know, and trust you. They're going to call you. They're going to know who you are. They're going to know more about you than you
why.
think and why and all the things. So yeah, that's definitely important.
What was your, like, I'll say for me, in my corporate jobs in the industry, I did a lot of filming, being in front of a camera. That took years to get comfortable.
Yeah.
But when it came to print profits, starting content was really tough. And I just made a promise myself when I left this corporate job, I'm all in. And
Yep.
what did all in look like?
Yep.
Content. And I delayed for so long, made all the
Yep.
excuses. I bought all the gear.
Yep.
And then it's just one day, it's like, man, if I'm going to be true to myself. So what I'm trying to say here is like, I've built up a little good rhythm early on.
Yep.
But it took a year and a half, 2 years for
Yep.
me to get there.
Yep.
Did you have a similar journey, or did that just come natural for you? Of I'm going to get in front of a camera, right? I think a lot of people struggle with making that
for
flip.
sure. It is. So I've been mentoring some people on like some content creation and stuff, and I'll even message them and like, hey, now's a good opportunity for you to make this video, and then there's like I kind of make excuses, and it's like I'm holding your hand to do it, and like it's still very difficult for these people sometimes. So it's just like really just staying true to yourself and just doing it. I would start with just doing story posts, because they only up for 24 hours, and if you
True.
sucked at it, at least you're getting one step closer to being more comfortable.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for a long time, and like I still get nervous and feel awkward and weird, and
Same.
like it's just the things you got to do. You got to push yourself out of your comfort zone. So whether that's going into work a little bit earlier before no one's there, before anybody comes in, and like doing it then it's just you, like maybe that makes you a little more comfortable, and then you'll get to the point where you can start talking in front of your employees, and then you can start talking in front of customers, and then in public, and then on stage, and all these things. It's like I grew up struggling to get through speech class in high school, hated it. I'm dyslexic, I can't read worth a crap, but so like that always made me nervous. And now I'll give speeches to 1,000 people and be fine, and like I still get nervous, but like I think it's a good nervous.
Yeah, it keeps you on your toes.
Keeps you on your toes. So it's like it's just starting in baby steps. You start with posting once a week, and you just build from there. Do consistent, tell your story. You can mix in a little bit of personal, a little bit of family, a little bit of business. Like a lot of the people that are listening, they're not going to be those big Fortune 500 companies. These are mom and pop shops looking to kind of get to that next level. So like that's where you have to tell your story.
Yep.
If you're not telling your story, what makes them want to buy with you? Like you're nothing special then. At the end of the day,
you
you're
get hats and T-shirts from numerous places.
Yeah.
But why insignia? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, give them that reason.
And it is crazy what happens when you start putting yourself out there, because you could be the best embroidery shop or screen printing shop, but if nobody knows about you,
Correct.
how are they ever going to order from you? Because they have no idea.
Yep.
Like we've got a lot of work. I probably generate more work from Snapchat than any other industry, and it sounds weird, but their guard is down when you're on Snapchat, because it's such like a personal connection. Like you're just friends on Snapchat. They're not following you like they would be on Facebook and Instagram, and they're not
relaxed.
Yeah, it's a lot more relaxed. They're just clicking through your stories, and like I share what I'm doing and how I'm getting there, and I share positivity and motivational stuff, and it kind of all ties into my ideal customer, which is business owners and stuff. So you just put yourself out there, stay consistent.
I want to get your take on something. So I'm not saying like I see this everywhere, but I have not fallen in this trap, but I've seen at times others where starting that journey and relying heavily on expensive marketing and complex SEO. And I've sort of found in my journey, I'm bootstrapped. I got like no budget for anything. So you make do with hustle.
Yep.
But I've found it's kind of freeing where doing your own content and pushing it out. And yes, if you can have a budget to help amplify,
Yep.
but what I'm trying to say is like sometimes analysis paralysis I see kick in, and people are investing money in
Yep.
something where it's like you don't necessarily need that,
Yep.
and you could start with your own. Am I making sense at all? Like, I
Yeah.
think it can be tempting to throw a lot of things when I don't know if that's needed in the journey, and
Yeah.
maybe
A lot of people do. They
hoping to fix it by pulling out their wallet.
instead of doing the thing that's free, but a little bit more nerve wracking and difficult to master. But
No doubt.
yeah, I mean,
It just feels like a down and dirty.
you're essentially door knocking on social media. Like
Yeah.
without, I think that's the tried and true way of getting places, especially if you're starting out early on. Like, just go ask them, and don't even necessarily like, hey, come buy my service. Just let them know who you are, and that's all you're trying to do on social media. Like, hey, I'm Blake with Insignia Screen Printing. I do
Yes.
screen printing, embroidery. I do focus in headwear and all the things. Like, if you have any work coming up, I'd love the opportunity. Keep it simple like that. You don't have to go out there and be like, I'm running this special on this hat. You have to buy it right now. Free this, free that, and try to give your service away. Like, people just genuinely need the service and they want to buy from people they like, know, and trust.
Yep.
If you're that guy, then great.
Yep.
So I think just simplifying it, that comes back to why Print Profit's, so powerful, is because it focuses on two main things and it's simple. And
I will say, simple is hard.
it is.
Isn't that crazy?
It is so hard.
It is so hard. Like, it's a slippery slope as we're building this software. I want to nerd out and go complex, but then your audience can't follow. So
Yep.
that's been the hardest. There's been a lot of hard things. Keeping it simple,
Yep.
but there's secret sauce there.
There
if
is.
you can
Yep.
do that.
Yep. I find myself kind of falling down different wormholes, and then I have to rein
Yeah.
myself back into, let's make that a little bit simpler, because
Yeah.
I had a hard time understanding it, and now how am I supposed to teach that to somebody?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then the next big nugget I'm kind of working on for the marketing side, I just texted you the other day on it, but it's really dialing in those touch points. So, kind of launched a LinkedIn campaign connecting with people in a certain industry, and then from there taking that information, adding them into a cold email campaign as we get their information right from LinkedIn,
Yeah.
and then from there going a step further and sending direct mail right to them. And all this campaign stuff will be tracked through a CRM, and it'll be nurtured for at least a year, emails longer, but and then you can build your meta ads around that as well. So you're targeting those people with those same types of interests. So like, they're gonna have to live under a rock not to hear about you, basically, and staying laser focused and simple. Like, that's the part where keeping it simple in marketing is
Yeah.
super important, because you can go down so many different rabbit holes, like finding one avenue, one industry, one niche, and all the things, and like just hammering down and making an offer so good that they can't not work with you.
As I said, he's a lot farther ahead in his journey, and I'm taking little notes. I think direct mail. So I've got like a UPS business box, and I get something from a merger and acquisitions firm in the printing industry.
Sure.
Pretty unique.
Yep.
But man, whenever they send me something in a digital world, we're just bombarded. Yes, we're biased with print completely,
Sure.
but I really appreciate just a break and something tangible.
Yep.
And I don't know if the average Joe has that appreciation like we do, but in this busy, bombarded world,
Yep.
I think there could be something to direct mail.
There definitely is, and it. I've been diving into it more in the last month here, just honestly trying to bring it back to the basics and keep it stupid simple. And
Yeah.
it's all about your numbers. That's literally marketing. I mean, that's literally everything, but like marketing specifically, you just know if you send this many postcards or direct mail and you spend this much on ads and you do this much outreach, like you're going to get a certain return. There's going to be certain levers you got to adjust accordingly when certain things aren't working, and just being able to make adjustments and split test and be creative and think outside the box is definitely huge.
But to your point, if we can get the recipe, and for every dollar Blake puts in, X
Yep.
is coming out. Theoretically, it's okay.
Yep.
Well, then how much here to get out
Yep.
here?
Yep. And I see a lot of people, they'll find something that's kind of working, and they don't really know their numbers, and they like try to go find something else that works. But it was right in front of them. They didn't realize they were getting a good return on this thing, and then they chased down another rabbit hole because whatever reason. And
expensive trial and errors and
yeah,
just our time.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
we're thinking about the end of the year.
yeah.
We're filming this early November. Where do you want to be, come New Year's time? And then what's kind of around the corner in your mind right now as we're starting to talk about 26? Let's do both of that. You go first.
It's a question I have to ask myself all the time with goals and where I want to go, and we kind of achieved some of those this year already, and continually kind of building off of that. We got some good foundation going into 2026, some money in the bank, and able to kind of double down on some of the things that are working. So
Yep.
I want to keep working towards the goal of not being into any of the day to day. Just being able to really grow and focus on networking. I think your net worth is your network. That's huge. So being able to go to more events and things and network with the right people,
Get out there.
be in the right rooms with the right people, I think is really important, because all it takes is one connection, and that could be $100,000 customer for you.
Yep.
So like being around those types of people is gonna help set us apart from the next guy. And then just adding as much value in every situation that we go into, as much value as we possibly can. You just you don't go into it like wanting to get anything out of it. It just happens, and it's just like the kindness nature out of people. Like,
Being authentic.
yeah, I genuinely want to help everybody that I help. As I don't expect anything in return, and like that's just kind of the nature of the beast, that it does come back around, and that's one of the benefits of that. So yeah, just continually investing in myself and my team, and just trying to get the best people I can around me, and just kind of they help push me, and I can help push them, and yeah, building culture and staying dialed on your goals, and not trying to get down too many rabbit holes, because it definitely is easy.
And I love some of those sales figures and milestones, profit land. Um, we know what's behind that in terms of the profitability.
Yep.
So we know it's one thing to hit $1 million for the first time, but are you profitable off of that?
Exactly.
So that's what I love, where you've got your eyes focused on both. Yes, the sales, because that's a milestone, but Blake knows
Yep.
that really there's a profit goal behind that you're
Yep.
probably more laser focused on than just
Yep.
even the sales.
Yeah, and that's come with kind of building out the team, and it's weird, because it's like taking us to get to this point of making this amount of money to be able to like focus on the numbers, even though like we should have been focusing on it earlier, and we might have got there faster. But you're just so clouded with like the day to day, and that's where I want to be able to take a step back from some of that stuff, and be able to look at the numbers every single day, and like be in the moment and make decisions like, okay, things need to adjust here. We need to increase this. We need to go do this. Like, if you're doing that a month later or bi-quarterly, like you're already too late. The ship's already sailed, and you already missed your mark. So
I love the whole lead with confidence.
Yep.
And part of that is the numbers. I'm sorry, but like that's the next level of confidence, to know you're making the right decision.
Yep.
And we as shop owners, we've got good gut feelings and intuition, but
Yep.
man, that number aspect,
Oh yeah.
if you can marry that up,
Yep. Important.
You're crushing it.
Yep. So, you've been working on 2.0 and a bunch of other cool things. What's in store for you, and to finish off the year, and to start 2026?
My North Star is Long Beach. I'll be announcing when the time is right, where we're going to be at the show, because that's exciting.
Yep.
But really, I felt like, Long Beach was my first ever show in apparel decoration.
Sure.
So overwhelmed. I had basic little print profit, one integration with Printable, but 2026 for me is like the big coming out party.
Sure.
Of saying like, we're here,
Yep.
improved, big impact that's been proven. So all resources we're full send, getting ready for that show, taking the software to the next level. Yep. But it all comes back to our customer feedback. I feel like we have, from time to time, clever ideas, but that's been really humbling. And I message Blake all the time. Before this, I'm asking him for feedback, but that's the right way to build.
Yep. It is.
Because I built stuff that you've never used and I haven't even used.
Yep.
I thought it was clever.
Yeah. It turns out it doesn't make sense, or not that it doesn't make sense, but it just isn't needed or whatever. And bringing it back to the basics and keeping it simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, this has been awesome to catch up on the shop. Thanks for allowing me to kick your podcast studio space. And real quick, do a plug on the podcast that you run, what you talk about, and let's wrap it up with that.
Sure. Yeah. So we also run the American Dream podcast, the sign behind me here. We started that at the beginning of this year. We've been kind of launching episodes every single week, and we interview just any business owner, any small business owner that with an interesting story. How they got to where they are. They share insights on things that have worked, things that haven't worked. We try to get to the nitty gritty of all the things. We've interviewed people from marketing CEOs all the way down to farmers that do kind of genetic testing, and they try to make the best beef out there. And so we've done a little bit of everything, and it's kind of just a wide variety of keeping that American dream alive. It's things that get lost sight in the busy day to day, and there's a lot of nasty things happening in the world. So if we can come in, share some positivity, and kind of do it alongside business and things we like to talk about, and just try to improve ourselves and the people around us 1% better every single day, I think we have achieved our goal.
It's a good mission.
Yeah.
I always loved the episode. So check it out. And thanks for hanging with us. Profit Land podcast number 1.
Yep.
Catch you next time.
Remember, today is a good day for a good day.
Let's make it happen. Thanks, guys.